Have you ever stopped to think about how much buying things has changed? I mean, really changed. It's not just about popping into a store anymore. The whole journey, from that first thought of, I think I need this, to actually clicking buy, has been completely rewired by the digital world we all live in. So let's dive into what that really means.
I mean, seriously, think about it for a second. When you're making a big, complicated decision, like buying a new car, or maybe installing solar panels, a billboard on the highway just isn't going to cut it, right? That's because the old way of selling, well, that playbook is pretty much obsolete.
For the longest time, basically through the whole 20th century, marketing was a very straightforward, top-down game. Brands had all the power, they held all the cards, and they used a really specific model to lead customers right to the sale.
And that old model was what we called the sales funnel. It was super linear. Brands would just blast out messages on TV, radio, billboards, all to create this huge wave of awareness. Then, maybe you'd get a piece of direct mail to nudge you into considering their product. And the final step? The sale always happened at a physical store. It was a one-to-many broadcast, basically a monologue where your only job as the customer was to listen and, hopefully, buy.
But then, well, the internet happened. Our phones got smart, our devices got connected, and suddenly information was everywhere, all the time. And this didn't just tweak the old model a little bit, it completely blew it up. It sparked a massive shift in power, away from the brands and into our hands.
I mean, just look at the difference here. On the one hand, you have that simple one-way funnel. But now, it's been replaced by this dynamic, looping, interconnected journey. Today's consumer doesn't just travel down a straight path. No way. They search, they read blogs, they watch countless YouTube reviews, they ask their friends on social media. They're the ones in the driver's seat now.
And this is the absolute key takeaway. We've gone from a world where customers were just passive targets to a world of active participants. Every single customer is now a node in a giant network, and they can influence tons of other people with a single review, a post, or a comment. They're not just at the end of the line anymore, they are the network.
Okay, so if the old playbook is out the window, what's the new one? How do you even begin to succeed in this crazy networked age? Well, it really boils down to mastering 5 core behaviors that meet the expectations of today's plugged-in consumer.
This new framework is built on 5 key strategies: access, engage, customize, connect, and collaborate. You'll notice they all circle around the consumer because, well, that's who's in charge now. So let's break down what each of these really means.
First up, access. Honestly, this is just table stakes now. Customers expect to get what they want right when they want it. That means getting instant answers from a chatbot at 2 a.m., finding all the info they need on your website 24/7. It means being there. If you're not easily accessible, you're basically invisible.
Next, we have engage. This is all about shifting from that old monologue to a real dialogue. It means you have to stop just shouting, "Buy now," and start providing actual value. Create useful blog posts, make entertaining videos, design interactive tools that genuinely help the customer. It's about earning their attention, not just demanding it.
Then there's customized. Look, in a world with a million choices, personalization is how you cut through the noise. It's about using data to make the customer feel seen, to make them feel like you get them. Think about those product recommendations that are scarily accurate or a price quote that's tailored specifically to their unique situation. That's what we're talking about.
Fourth on our list is connect. At the end of the day, people trust other people way more than they trust brands. And the smartest companies know this. They help build communities. They actively encourage reviews. And they connect potential customers with happy existing ones. This creates social proof that is so much more powerful than any ad you could ever run.
And finally, we have collaborate. This is really the highest level of this new relationship. It's about inviting your customers to actually co-create with you. Maybe it's letting them vote on a new product feature or sharing their photos for your marketing campaigns. When you collaborate, you turn customers into genuine brand partners.
Okay, so that's all the theory. But let's see what these 5 behaviors look like in the real world. We're going to follow the story of a guy named Mr. Smith and his journey to buy solar panels for his house.
So this is Mr. Smith. He's looking to save some money on his electric bill, so he does what we all do. He starts online. He Googles a few things, checks out different brands, and pretty soon he starts seeing ads for solar panels popping up on his social media. He figures, okay, let's reach out to a few of these companies.
And boom, right out of the gate, we see the first principle in action. Mr. Smith sends out a few inquiries through web forums and chatbots. One company, SunPanel, gets back to him almost instantly. The other companies? Crickets. They never even replied. Just by being accessible and responsive, SunPanel stayed in the game while their competition was out before it even began. That's the power of access. So now that SunPanel has his attention, they don't just send over a boring price list. Instead, they send Mr. Smith a cool video explaining what their company is all about. And then they start a conversation with him on WhatsApp, a platform he's already comfortable with. This isn't a hard sell. It's useful, it's convenient, and it starts building a real relationship. That's engagement. But this is where it gets really impressive. SunPanel asks for his address, geolocates his house, and sends back a quote that is totally personalized. They didn't just guess. They based it on his family's actual energy bills, the precise angle of his roof, and they even accounted for some nearby trees that might cast a shadow. This is customized at its absolute best, and it made Mr. Smith feel like they really understood his needs. Then, to seal the deal, SunPanel does something brilliant. They send Mr. Smith a list of his actual neighbors, people who are already happy SunPanel customers, and said they'd be willing to chat. They connected him directly with his peers. After talking to a couple of them, Mr. Smith was totally sold. He sent a quick WhatsApp message and signed the contract right on his device.
But here's the kicker, and this is probably the most important part of the whole new playbook. For a company like SunPanel, the journey doesn't stop when Mr. Smith signs that contract. In this new network model, that's really just the beginning. See, a happy customer like Mr. Smith, who got great service and can now track his energy savings on an app, he becomes an advocate. He's the guy who's going to leave glowing reviews online. He's going to be the reference for the next Mr. Smith down the street. He starts creating that positive buzz that feeds right back into the network, creating awareness for brand new customers. It's a self-sustaining loyalty loop.
And that's the fundamental truth of marketing today. You're not just trying to close one sale. You're trying to start a relationship that creates a cycle, where the end of one happy customer's journey is the spark that ignites the start of the next one.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. When you look at your own business or the brands you buy from, what do you see? Are they still stuck thinking in terms of that old one-way street, that simple funnel, or are they building a living, breathing network with their customers right at the heart of it all? Because the answer to that question will pretty much define who wins and who loses in the digital age.